Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We've got a very special multicast for you today. It's no NEHEK November, that means Vampire Counts and Coast with no Invocation of NEHEK, created by Aerocrastic. I've got a couple of builds from myself, and then a couple of builds from him as well. So let's get straight to it. We've got Kemmler on foot here with the Discount Krell. We're going for the old Krell Bomb strategy once more. We've got Chaos Tomb Blade for more passive healing, along with an Unholy Lodestone Krell, of course, Claw of Nagash, secondary Necromancer on a Corpse Cart, who's got Zombie Summons and Dance Macabre. We've also got two Blood Knights here, Skeleton Spears and Zombies up front, Dire Pack as well. And yeah, an additional corpse cart just to have for something to have something for my opponent to chew on. English today. Anyway, yeah, we've got some Black Knights also. You guys will see NEHEK Horsemen pretty frequently for the Tomb Kings. Black Knights are honestly a very similar unit. Good melee stats overall, decent armor as well. Not the best charge bonus, but just a good, cheap kind of cavalry unit. For the Skaven that we're up against here, we've got Skrolk, Blight Pack, Natty Boobos, Hell Pit, a Plague Furnace here, nice blob of Clan Rats, another Hell Pit, and the Council Guard. So definitely going for a very tight build, if you will. But we're going to go ahead and get the full envelopment going. You can see the Natty Boobos have been alternating their fire between the Claw of Nagash and the Corpse Cart. But because these two are together here, kind of passively healing each other, it's going to be tough. They both also have the innate regeneration trait as well. So you've got these multiple different healing effects that will keep them nice and fresh as the Giselles plink away. And we are, yeah, charging out here on the side a little bit. Didn't really do too much, but I'm trying to charge in on the corners. When you get a defensive formation like this, you always want to try and get in on the corners here, because there's always going to be some area that's somewhat exposed here. You can see the Dire Pack going to come in here. Not too expensive, and they also don't count as large, so I can use them to kind of break the bracing bonus here of these Clan Rats. And then the Blood Knight's going to come in. Oh yeah, here we go. They don't really get that impactful of a charge, unfortunately. I was hoping they could get in and get on the Hell Pit, but they don't do a whole lot of damage. I'm going to go ahead and pull away there. But good stuff so far. You can see the frontline engagement just about to get underway here as we move forward with the Claw of Nagash here. This thing is going to be a bit of a magnet for Hell Pits, but if we keep it online, it should be okay. The Sternsmen starting to make their way forward here, or are these just regular Grave Guard? I believe those are the Sternsmen. Yep, we've got the White King in here, Kemmler as well, and here comes Krell, going to be summoned up in the back line right on top of these Natty Boobos. And although Krell's more meant as an anti-large type character, he will absolutely just destroy these Natty Boobos here. You can watch their HP just start to absolutely plummet. He takes big chunks out of them, fells several unit models on each swing there. Brutal stuff, not to mention they're being drained by the Claw of Nagash here, though it itself is being beat up pretty badly by the Hell Pit there. If we take an overarching look, you can see in the back where there's the non-anti-large units, I'm charging in with my Black Knights, just trying to wear away on these Clan Rats and the Plague Pack here and so on. And a huge Dance Macabre that's going to hit all of these units. And just to slow things down here briefly, I just want to point out zombies with 36 attack, and you know, they're punching basically like Empire State Troops, not in terms of weapon strength, but still, you know, that's even with that Aura of Pestilence. But we've just got these multiple effects, that Chaos Tomb Blade, Vigor Mortis, as well as the Dance Macabre and everything. So it's very impressive getting those stacking effects. You really don't need Invocation of NEHEK at that point. You can see the White King pretty much completely healthy here, Kemmler pretty much completely healthy here. The Claw of Nagash has definitely been taking some damage. My opponent's been focusing a lot of her micro on that, but we're pulling away here with these Blood Knights, trying to get some damage in on the Hell Pit there. Over here, this Corpse Cart's mostly just here for the Unholy, not the Unholy Lodestone, the Vigor Mortis. You can see 10-11 for these zombies, definitely pretty decent, only 18 attack for the Clan Rats, so they're honestly not going to trade amazing there. But this blob fight is really where the main fight's at. Krell is in here, I believe, trying to get some hits in on some of these large high-value units. A bit hard to see what's going on. Oh, there he is. Here you go, Krell. If Krell can get a hold of Skrolk himself, that will be a huge blow. Looks like he's got Skrolk's number. Question is, can he get a hold? Looks like the Plague Pack are rushing in for some support here. They'll be doing some good armor-piercing damage. Krell not quite getting on Skrolk there, but Definitely doing some good splash damage still. Kemmler's getting bullied pretty bad, but he's still, he's still hanging on. He's got the multiple regeneration effects. He can hang on here for quite some time. The monsters, the single entities for Skaven are still hanging on, but a lot of the clan rats you can see being worn away. I've been using the Black Knights as well to kind of chase routing units, Natty Boobos and other units as they get routed away. So in a blob situation like this, when you have a mobility advantage, you want to make sure to clean up as much scraps as you can whenever they route. Keep them from getting a second wave. You can see the Claw of Nagash here pretty low on HP. It's getting close to its healing cap, but at the same time, this balanced power just slowly but surely grinding in my favor as the units get worn away here. Council Guard continuing to fight. Of course, they're unbreakable. The Black Knights will be able to deliver a nice rear charge here on these Plague Pack, and they are not unbreakable, certainly. The Corpse Cart here, the Corpse Cart Necromancer, and the Unholy Lodestone both fighting in this blob. All the healing effects. We're going to get another huge Dance Macabre here, hitting all of these units in this blob. Black Knights up to 57 melee attack. Let's see, those Blood Knights up to 71. How about Krell? Not sure if Krell's still in here. Looks like he might have been worn away completely, unfortunately, but still. Yeah, just absolutely beautiful. Those stacking effects there. You can see the Plague Priest getting worn away. Just a matter of time. I'm having to cycle charge my Blood Knights pretty aggressively, though, against those Hell Pits especially. The Hell Pits, a lot of HP to have to get through. These Council Guard are just about gone. Skrulk's just about gone. Once the supporting units are all finished, then it won't be too hard for me to finish them off, but these last two Elite Skaven Infantry are definitely hanging on quite a long time. So we're having to be aggressive with the Cav. Get a bit of Bone Tonia, if you will. See the Skeleton Spearmen rushing from behind here. Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful game. Not the biggest fan of vampire counts, but I do love Krell, I'm not going to lie. And playing the cavalry-centric builds for vampire counts is definitely the way I would prefer to play them. I'm not really super into the big monster mashes. Definitely fun, don't get me wrong. And that's one of the things that makes this game great, but I am just, biased towards heavy cavalry, especially elite heavy cav like Blood Knights. Black Knights are pretty good too, honestly. Not the biggest fan of their unit model. They kind of just look like mounted Grave Guard. But, I guess that's pretty cool too. Soak in some of the sights and sounds here as we grind through the rest of these. You can see slowly but surely the balance power tipping more and more. The Hell Pit's getting worn down. The Plague Priest as well. I've been cycle charging him pretty aggressively because, of course, he can't regenerate. Skrulk still fighting, but man, Kemmler is completely healthy as well. Just been sitting in here the whole time. Oh, and he goes for a ride. Kemmler in this build as well only costs around 800 points. So it's like 850, something like that. So, I mean, if he dies, it's bad. But it's not the end of the world. Not too many points. And the White King comes in to finish off Lord Skrulk. Right in the mound, the hole where he just summoned his friends from. There we go. Oh, yeah. Discount Krell. That one Blood Knight. Oh, and here comes Kemmler, too, for the finishing blow. That'll be all for the Skaven. Very nice way to finish there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. So, yeah, I mean, this is kind of a secret of how to meme, guys, if you're wondering. Like, the Claw of Nagash and 2 Blood Knights is a solid core to any army. Sternsmen are also a very strong pick, especially with an Unholy Lodestone. I mean, just those stacking effects, as I mentioned. Why taking... I would argue that Kemmler, not necessarily competitive, definitely more of a meme pick, but in a situation like this, I mean, he does add that extra regeneration effect. Krell is also pretty decent. I mean, if you have Kemmler very cheap like this, then Krell's not so much of an issue. He lasts a reasonably long time. It's not too long, but he can definitely get some work done in the right amount of time. If you use him at the right time, it's just a little bit tricky. I personally preferred him the way he was before, where if you kept him close by with Kemmler, and with those stacking healing effects, you could basically keep him alive, definitely, until he got to his healing cap. But anyway, very fun stuff. For my opponent's build, yeah, double Hell Pits, pretty standard stuff against vampire counts. This sort of blob-type build can pay off sometimes. I almost would have wondered, though, if the Giselles shouldn't have been traded out for a unit of Flayers, just to help in the infantry fight. They're even decent-ish against heavy cavalry as well. They just provide that extra little bit of armor-piercing kind of DPS in that engagement, a bit of extra anti-infantry. And the Jezzails in that tight little box formation are going to be really, really tough to protect. Because, yeah, vampire counts have lots of summons and disruption, as we shall see. But we've got a few replays to get through, so let's not take too much time on that. Moving on. Alright, pirates in the desert. Makes complete sense. Nothing weird about that at all. Here we are with the Vampire Coast. Of course, no Invocation of NEHEK. Opens us up to some possibilities. We've got Silostra here with Vanguard's Revenge, actually fighting against Heir of Carthage. Some of you may have seen this battle on his stream. So he was doing a greenskin sort of faction focus, and I am taking Vampire Coast against him. Decided to go with something unexpected, which is a rush build with Coast. Got Silostra, Gallows Giant, 2 units of Crabs here, Lamprey's Revenge, and a regular Rotting Promethean. Got some deckhands up front, a couple pistols as well, a Vampire Caster with no Invocation of NEHEK, of course, just Dance Macabre, or should I say Dance Kebab, and Zombie Summons. We've got 1 Bloated Corpse and 2 Hounds here who just got that Overcast Dance Kebab, giving them extra eating power and speed as they eat some of these Spider Rider and Wolf Rider archers here, doing some great DPS early on. We've got tons of Savage Orc Arrow Boys, a couple of Black Orcs, Doom Divers, Skarsnik, and 2 Lil Zappas. So without further ado, we're going to get things underway here. You can see Silostra taking a couple of hits. Don't really want to take too much of that missile fire, so we're going to try and dodge, but Thick Crab Lady has a bit of a tough time dodging. That shot as well from the Gallows Giant just hit this one tree. I mean, there's one tree in the whole vicinity, and you had to hit that thing, but oh well. These Black Orcs are going to take a pretty brutal charge there, and that Flaming debuff does hit them just enough, and with the attack debuff from Song of Enthrallment as well, they just get absolutely pounded. Meanwhile, the second unit of Black Orcs here is going to be subject to the Van Geist. Here we go, Crabs mixed in, pinning them in so they can't escape. And we managed to also delete one of my own units of zombies, which is absolutely amazing. But, you know, so it goes with the pirates. You can see immediately, because we crumped that front line so hard, we're able to push back and start to push on these Savage Orc Arrow Boys, which is very important. You can see they've already done quite a bit of damage to the Lamprey's Revenge and this other unit of Prometheans. I mean, granted, some of that did come from the Black Orcs as well, but yeah, those Orc Arrow Boys, Daka's definitely dangerous. But we've got our work cut out for us. You can see we were chasing routing units with those Scurvy Dogs, bringing them back up top, on top of the hill. These other Scurvy Dogs are probably going to crumble away, but at the very least we can get some damage in. Silostra's taking a few hits there from the little zaps, but the Crabs are pushing. We're able to get on some of these Doom Diver crews and start to shut them down. The summoned Knights as well are going to be particularly good here because of the magic attacks that they have. They'll be excellent against these Savage Orc Arrow Boys specifically. You can see this one even got a little bit of a debuff here, I believe. Yeah, Taunt on this one. 0 melee defense. Not that they have much melee defense to begin with, but still. Spooky Bretonian's going to be fighting here, and the Wolf Riders try and move in to screen for the archers. That's a decent play, although those Wolf Riders will probably get terrified away pretty quickly. The Knights Errant do have pretty low melee attack, these ethereal ones here, so they're not going to really do too much damage back very quickly. But yeah, you can see immediately they get terrified, even before that thing's able to shoot in there. So the crossfire, though, from the Arrow Boys, you can see as soon as they get set up, they start to do a ton of damage to these Lamprey's Revenge here. And despite everything, I'm going to hit them with the Dance Macabre to give them some extra speed so they can try and get in here, but we're just having a tough time. Although finally we're able to connect all across the line here with the Knights Errant, the Crabs, Silostra also moving in. So this line of Orc Arrow Boys here, these Savage Orc Arrow Boys, not looking too good. Song of Enthrallment as well also slows them down and debuffs their melee attacks. They can't punch back quite as well, because they will punch back reasonably effectively. 32 attack, only 8 melee defense, but they have decent weapon strength as well. So, you know, not necessarily too great. You can see, like, these Lamprey's Revenge here, they're crumbling. They're taking some damage from that, taking some hits as well, but thankfully the regeneration keeping them alive for the time being. Meanwhile, Bloaty Boy has been deployed. A little bit late. Maybe could have used him in some... There honestly weren't that many blob engagements earlier, but nonetheless we had some Night Goblins that had come in, were ostensibly on a mission to take out cannons. They were Vanguard deployed behind me, but we're gonna try and hit them with the Bloaty Boy here. Meanwhile, Scurvy Dogs continuing to chase around Spider Riders and my Air's light cav here, just to kind of chase units off the field as much as we can. Same thing with these zombies. Just keep the greenskins on the route, because of course they have low leadership. And if we can keep them routing across the field, then it's going to be quite beneficial. Lamprey's Revenge here, still hanging on, just barely about to crumble away because of that regeneration. You can see they're pretty much out-regenerating the crumbling. Not quite, but finally go down there. But yeah, this Gallows Giant just continuing to roast as well, up to 54 kills. Going to be getting some brutal fire, literal fire, through the side of this unit here. Maybe not quite so brutal. Hit like one boy that time, but yeah. You can see the air fire coming into those rotting Prometheans. Definitely going to be doing some really solid damage, but oh, here comes the flame attack on those poor gobos there. Oh, that's value. I mean, it's not that much value because they're just night goblins, but that's a lot of numbers of kills at the very least, up to 91 from that shot there. So, oh yeah, oh, there we go. Up to 122 there. You can see Air's trying to take out the Bloaty Boy here, not wanting to get run over too hard, but Bloaty Boy is relentless. When his charge animation is active, at least he's fast enough to catch up with them, but fortunately just out of charge range at the moment. See Skarsnik struggling to keep up with the course of the battle here, just has kind of been, he's killed, what, 52 zombies? But just hasn't been able to get into a position to take out the crabs with his anti-large AP, which is what he needed to do. See on bullying the Night Goblin there. Continuing to flame these Orc Air Boys as they come back from route. See the lads here. Their loincloths aren't really going to protect them from the flamethrower. I feel like it's very thematic too. Aren't flamers very good against orcs in 40k? I feel like this is pretty thematic in that sense. Oh yeah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And here comes Bloaty Boy. He's crumbling. He's crumbling. He's down to 360, 338. Oh, and he just gets in there and basically wipes an entire unit of goblins, which costs the same as him, so was that worth it at the end of the day? No, probably not, but did it make me happy? Yes, at the very least. Skarsnik now going to make his way over, try and get in on the Fire Necrofex here. It does have that Stomp attack, which will be able to hit him, but because of his good melee defense and, you know, anti-large AP, he'll actually do okay at doing some damage to that Gallows Giant. Meanwhile, the crowds are still trying to deal with what remains of the boys. I just don't have really enough numbers to chase everything off here. Secondary wall going to be used at this point, and will it be enough? Pretty far gone at this point. Air's going to start to run into army losses, especially because I have this basically full health unit of Scurvy Dogs that can come chase all of his routing units. But yeah, you can see once Skarsnik gets terrified, that's gonna very quickly hit army losses. And it'll be game. So once again, proving that you don't need no NEHEK. You can win through a very unexpected, unorthodox builds. This rush build's definitely a lot of fun. And would we have benefited from having Invocation of NEHEK? Absolutely. But you can definitely still win without it. It's a little bit easier, I would say, with the Council and Coast. But anyway, 120 kills on Silvestra, 189 there at the end of the day for the Gallows Giant. Definitely played a key in that victory there. 67 for these Prometheans, 57 there. Just crumped those Black Orcs on that initial engagement super hard. Scurvy Dogs with 140, 63 here. Again, very essential to have these mobile units as Coast to chase those routing units for your opponent and capitalize on those terror routes and really get some good value from some cheap units. For Air's build, this is actually a really solid build for anti-Vampire Coast. I might trade these skirmish cavalry out for more infantry skirmishers, or maybe just a handful of more infantry units, maybe even like squig hoppers, because they do have immune to psychology. They can kind of move in and help screen a little bit if you need to, but even more infantry skirmishers, I think, wouldn't honestly be a bad idea. It's a pretty good way to go against Coast, but anyway, that was a very fun battle. Big thanks to Air for that one. So let's get to the next replay. Now we're going to be going to Aerocrastics replays, so let's get to it. And we're here with the Strigoi Lord out in the desert once again. He's going to be taking the Counts, and Aerocrastic will be leading them up against the Empire. So let's get to it. Yeah, big boy Strigoi up in the air. Let's have a look at his ability set. He's got this Ghoul King of Ashorn, which gives him regeneration. It's on use there for 30 seconds. Extra regeneration if he needs it. Opal Amulet to shrug off damage in the first place. Power Stone for some more Winds of Magic. You can summon ghouls and or, let's see, crypt horrors, I believe? Yes, okay. And, sorry about that. Just had to remind myself. Spirit Leech, and of course has the Death Shriek being on the Terrorgeist. A couple units of Blood Knights, zombies mixed with Skeleton Warriors in the front line. He's got an Unholy Lodestone for that passive regeneration. And a Black Coach as well. Some bats scattered around. For the Empire, we've got some Knights of the Blazing Sun here. Several units of them, 3 it looks like. Silver Bullets and Sterling's Revenge. Tattersouls as well. And some regular Flagellants, very interesting. Couple Spearmen. And Mr. Volkmar leading the way. You can see, looks like they were maybe going to charge in there, but those Knights of the Blazing Sun thinking better and deciding to pull back to their own lines. Just waiting patiently here. Looks like the Sterling's Revenge is going to come forward and probably start to shoot at this Strigoi here. Shoot at something. There we go, popping some pistol fire, getting some good crossfire. Granted, it is just on skeleton warriors, but still. Damage is damage, right? Especially against the vampire counts. You can see, whoops, the fell bats are going to move in here a little bit, start to tie some of these units down. That's really the best that they can do at this point. But here we go. The Coach and the Vargulf and the Strigoi all come in at the same time in this same little pocket here, interrupting the charge of the Knights of the Blazing Sun. And this is particularly bad because Knights of the Blazing Sun don't have the best combat stats. There they get the Foz protection for some extra melee defense, but baseline not very good. They do rely on that 78 charge bonus quite a bit. Volkmar, though, coming in to save the day with his light streaming from the sky there. Going to banish some of those nasty skeletons. And the Flagellants also will trade very well against most vampire counts infantry, except for Graveguard, of course, but still, Blood Knight's going to be getting a really nice rear charge here. That's going to do probably quite a bit of damage to those Knights of the Blazing Sun. They do have Hammer of Sigmar active, but they really need to pull out. Looks like actually I didn't take too much damage there. Most of the impact being taken by those Spearmen, and now the Knights of the Blazing Sun actually countercharge back in. So interesting stuff so far. These other Flagellants just kind of chilling here over on the side, allowing these skeletons to try and get up and around the flank, but not wanting it to just blob in here blindly. Definitely understand that. Black Coach doing some good damage. Reasonably decent health so far. See, it's getting a bit of that passive healing, but also getting some hits from the Flagellants there. And the Knights of the Blazing Sun are grinding as well. Not really meant to be in a grind type fight like this, but they're just having a hard time getting loose. You can see this unit finally is able to get loose here and start to corral this Black Coach. Definitely want them to be taking advantage of their charge bonus as much as possible, but here, these Silver Bullets have been well protected up until this point, but will they get snagged by these Blood Knights here? Oh man, a few of them get hit on that charge, and will they be able to escape is the question. These Knights of the Blazing Sun, because of the pathing, didn't get the best charge there, but they are going to come in and apply their charge bonus now, be able to get some damage, and that breath only hit a couple of models there as well, so a decent pick for the Empire. Might be able to finish off these Blood Knights here. It looks like they are crumbling very low at this point, but might be able to stabilize their leadership. Black Coach comes in for a nice rear charge, and it looks like that Spearman will actually tear out, bailing out those Blood Knights. Meanwhile, over here, a very nice banishment to come in and do a ton of damage to the vampire counts. They just have so many units in this blob here. It's pretty hard to miss, but yeah. Thankfully, the Unholy Lodestone can continue to provide that nice passive healing. Of course, the Vargulf and the Strigoi have their own regeneration as well. And, yeah, the Knights of the Blazing Sun continuing to try and cycle charge here, but just getting bogged down in the endless stream of bodies. Nice little bombardment there from Volkmar helps clear out some of the chaff. The Crypt Ghouls as well, the 7 Crypt Ghouls there, taking a lot of damage from that. And suddenly things aren't looking so bad for the Empire. The chaff is starting to get cleaned up for the vampire counts. They still have some of these more higher value single models left, but you can see the Blood Knights here might get caught out and isolated by the Knights of the Blazing Sun. That could be pretty good. Over here, though, these Knights of the Blazing Sun look like they're getting dived on by the Strigoi there. Might not be the best. Volkmar probably could just come in and side charge the Strigoi. I mean, he does have 50 charge bonus, so he could probably get a hit in here, actually, but not sure if he did or not. Hard to say. He doesn't really have the best EP values anyway. But, yeah, he can maybe keep the Strigoi pinned on the ground. Will he? Nope. Looks like the Strigoi just barely gets back up in the air. A little bit unfortunate. But Sterling's Revenge still online, able to provide some Overwatch fire. The issue is these regenerating single entity models are going to be pretty tough for the Empire to kill in this late game situation, even with the missile units. Missile units going to have a hard time staying online. You can see the Flagellants fighting bravely here. Got a lot of kills, but it's not able to protect these missile units, and definitely very tough against the vampire counts. That's why, I mean, the Sterling's Avenge are definitely a solid pick. They can kind of fend for themselves. You know, they're decent melee combatants in their own right. And a nice side charge here from the Knights of the Blazing Sun on that Black Coach. A couple of them will make contact, but that Vargulf is going to be a pretty big danger as well. You can see they do fire damage. They'll do a little bit extra there, but that low melee defense kind of betrays them in that fight a little bit. And of course, that Unholy Lodestone still just hanging around. Those corpse carts, man, they're cheap. I mean, even the Unholy Lodestone at 500 points is still pretty cheap. And considering what it is, it's just this regenerating meatbag that you have to deal with, because if you don't, you know, it's just going to keep regenerating everything else and giving it extra stats, but it's cheap enough that, and it has, you know, its own regeneration and everything, that it's tough to allocate resources to try and deal with it. So, you guys, if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a huge fan of corpse carts, and I will continue to evangelize the corpse cart usage because they're very, very strong units. You can see here, Blood Knight's coming in for a nice rear charge with this Black Coach. The unarmored Flagellant's going to take a ton of damage from this, continuing to just try and slog through the endless waves of undead here. Fortunately getting taken out by the more elites. Volkmar coming in to try and save the day. He does have a, oh man, very thematic, angry horde of Flagellants and Empire infantry here. He's going to drop his hot streams of light all over those foul undead. Do quite a bit of damage there. You can see the Blood Knight's pretty much gone at this point, so maybe. I just don't think the Empire really has the anti-large here. I mean, the Flagellants will be able to kind of grind through this late game a bit, but yeah, you can see the balance power slowly kind of tilting back and forth, but definitely in the Vampire count's favor at this point, as those Knights of Blazing Sun get shattered there. Volkmar is chasing the Black Coach, so cue the Benny Hill music. Come on, Volkmar. We were about to have a moment there. Anyway, he was now making his way back over towards his men. And we've still got a completely healthy group of Skeleton Warriors here somehow, so not really sure how that happened, but Flagellants are going to get in and try and take them out. This Vargulf only has 40 armor, so the Flagellants with their extra weapon strength can actually do a little bit there if he'll stay in combat, but probably not going to stay in combat for too long. We'll fast forward a little bit through this late game as the Vampire counts. Aerocrastic tries to pursue some routing units here, take advantage of that breath attack, and now move in for the final engagement right on top of these healthy Skeleton Warriors with the Unholy Lodestone, giving them extra stats. You can see there 23-27 with extra, you know, regeneration and everything, so doing quite well here despite the Flagellants. The Black Coach as well, getting a nice charge. Let's see, 94 kills, just about got 2 XP chevrons, got quite a few more kills there on that charge as well. So pretty good stuff. The Vargulf's coming back. Volkmar trying his best. He's going to call down some more streams of light. This will probably do quite a bit of damage to those skeletons, but oof. Yeah. The Black Coach as well is actually crumbling at this point. It looks like he gets taken out there in some bumper car action from Volkmar. But the Strigoi is still left, plus the Vargulf going to be a bit too much in this kind of a late game situation, so yep. The men of the Empire, though, the unbreakable religious fanatics, will continue to make their final stand here against the undead. Volkmar knows no fear, at least on his wagon. You can't do anything bad when you got this warrior priest on the back watching you. All these Flagellants as well. I mean, they came here to die. So, yeah, the Strigoi actually taking quite a bit of damage there from Volkmar. He's kind of getting worn down on his healing cap just through successive hits because everyone's so tired here. So we're going to continue to fast forward as this is going to take quite some time to actually decide the outcome of here. But Volkmar takes some hits. He's actually not taking that much damage. But you can see the Black Coach goes down. The Vargulf actually goes down as well. So suddenly it was going to be Volkmar versus the world. But he gets finished off by the Strigoi. And now it's just these Flagellants here fighting. Oh man, so quite the close battle at the end of the day. The men of the Empire just about able to turn back the tide of undead here, but the Strigoi, big boy Strigoi, proving to be too much, and his goose as well, very hungry for flagellant flesh here. So we're going to continue to fast forward. That corpse cart probably is going to go down. It's crumbling and getting picked at. Corpse carts don't have a whole lot of armor, so yep, corpse cart goes down. That's a victory for the Empire. And suddenly it's just a Strigoi, and if you actually notice, just through RNG, he's going to not kill these flagellants super well in this late game here and actually take some hits. I almost wonder if there wouldn't have been more flagellants left if he actually might have lost that engagement there at the very, very end. But yeah, it was too much for those brave flagellants there at the end. They tried their best, but alas. A very fun battle. A big thanks to Arrow for that one. In terms of the breakdown there, yeah, Black Coach, Blood Knights, Vargolf, all doing the damage they need to. 178 as well for the Strigoi as well. Yeah, I said as well twice. Anyway, very good stuff. 118 there from the Knights of the Blazing Sun, 62, 57. They did some great work. And Flagellants, you know, I definitely get the Unbreakable, high DPS versus Chaff. Decent here. I think, honestly, the only real criticism I have for this build is the Silver Bullets. I'd cut them out for just maybe another unit of Empire Knights. You could, if you wanted to bring some missile units, you could try and bring some Outriders. They will be a little bit more to micro, but just because they're, you know, skirmish cav, they can try and stay out away from danger. Or alternately, you could just go heavier in the infantry force, bring another unit of Flagellants, or you know, there's some various sort of different things you could do. I'm just trying to think in this particular build what would have really helped here. Maybe a unit of Hunters instead of the Silver Bullets. I mean, I know the Hunters. I guess I'd have to compare the DPS, really. They don't probably do quite as much damage, but yeah, interesting. I'd have to kind of sit down and think about it a little bit, but very fun battle nonetheless. Let's go ahead and get to the next one without further ado. And we're here with the Pirates once again. Oh, man. Broken Neck Harkon going to be leading the way here. Aerocrastic once again with the Counts. Say once again, this time with the Counts. And he's going up against Flying Taco's Beastmen, so... Got a flying gun squad here, 3 deck droppers with Harkon, and a unit of deck bombers as well, so should be interesting there. The rest of the army is just a whole bunch of zombies, the Gallows Giant, and we've got a mortar, a vampire fleet captain, Lore of Deeps, so we're looking for some crab summons and some tide calls. As for the Beastmen here, currently getting bombed out. We've got a whole bunch of Goreherd with shields, regular Goreherd, some Ungoreherd, and some spears as well. 3 units of Chaos Spawn, and yeah, tons of infantry, just Vanguard deployed in a huge surround. Got Butchers of Kalkengard, and it looks like Morgur, yep, and a Bray Shaman Lore of Wild. So, you can see the deck droppers already making their presence felt here, doing quite a bit of damage to those Goreherds, the unshielded variant. Now moving on to the Chaos Spawn. Going to be very, very good at taking out these Chaos Spawn pretty efficiently. A nice purple background there. Definitely looking very spooky. Oh, yeah. Very cinematic. Hurts my eyes just a little bit. And you can see there, Harkon dives down. That leadership effect immediately going to terrify away those Goreherd. I hear a Manticore summon, probably out in the far ground there. Yep, going to probably try and go after those pistol deck droppers, at least try and pressure them away so they can't continue to just do free damage here. But Beastman Rush is incoming. They'll obviously beat the zombies pretty hard. And the spawn will be okay if they're able to get into combat against the Gallows Giant, but we'll see what units they're deployed against here. Goreherd's going to be rushing in, getting some good damage in on those poor little zombies. The bombers are a great pick, though. Really a niche pick as well. But the fact that they can do good DPS to kind of these low armor infantry, very effective. And the Manticore is getting a hold of those deck droppers. Keep in mind, though, the pistol deck droppers only cost 450 points. So, I mean, yes, he is taking them out with that Manticore summon, but is that the best use of the Manticore summon? Maybe he should be going after the Gallows Giant instead. And, yeah, looks like a second Manticore summon going to be used now here as well. Got some Rotting Promethean summoned on the coast side. And the Butchers of Kalkengard, is the mortar shooting the Butchers of Kalkengard directly? I'm not really sure, but regardless, the Butchers need to try and push through and get on those that Gallows Giant if they can. It does look like the mortar's actually shooting these guys directly. I'm not sure about that. But the Butchers of Kalkengard, if they can get onto the Gallows Giant, they could potentially shut it down with their AP burst damage. But right now, they're just getting bogged down in these zombies here, not really able to push through very effectively. And the deck droppers have taken some damage from that Manticore, but it really wasn't worth it at the end of the day. Basically traded one Manticore summon for not even a full unit of deck droppers there, so yeah, probably should have used that Manticore summon to instead go after the Gallows Giant here, but nonetheless, Beastmen are going to continue to fight there. A nice Tide Call, does quite a bit of damage. And oh man, just all of the effects in this blob here. All of the fighting. Butchers of Kalkengard, of course, weak to fire damage, so as that Necrofex fires in, they will get roasted. That's a burger right there. Archon himself coming in now. Getting in danger close. Woo. Feeling the heat. But, yeah, those Butchers going to get taken out in a big hurry then. You can see here the Scurvy Dogs helping to get this isolated Ungor herd over here on the side. Ungor herd, I mean, they're alright in this matchup. Just because they're low leadership, though, the Spears are really the only ones I would take. Oh, and the Raiders as well. We'll talk about that a little later. Meanwhile, Necrofex here, just roasting out Beastmen infantry. Beautiful day. Beautiful day for a barbecue. And no invocation of NEHEK. We don't need any of that. We can have a great time without it. These deck droppers flying all over the place, still with plenty of ammunition. And, yeah, the mortar as well, still able to stay online despite everything. Flying Taco just wasn't really able to ever get to it. They still have some spawn fighting here in this blob, though, and a summoned Cygor as well. Huh. Where did this guy come from? I must have missed the, yeah, Beastcaster and Wildcaster. Okay, makes sense. You can see the Cygor there. Is able to take out the fleet captain, maybe not quite in time, but the summons are actually keeping the balance of power reasonably close for the time being. Once those run out, I'd imagine the balance of power is going to stabilize quite a bit, but the Beastmen are actually starting to clean up a lot of the chaff now. You can see just the high value units are online, and you can see why I was talking earlier about trying to get the Butchers onto the Gallows Giant to try and take it out. Second Cygor summon going to be used here. That will keep the balance of power reasonably close, and it looks like that other Cygor is trying to move back, or no, he's actually chasing the captain there. So yeah, things are going to stay reasonably close here, and it looks like this Cygor is moving into melee to try and finish off the Gallows Giant, but now with Harkon in support here, and oh, the second Chaos Spawn summon being saved now for Morgr until this point to try and finish off the Gallows Giant here, so a valiant effort from the Beastmen trying to salvage things. Summon Cygor did finish off the fleet captain there, so might try and toss a couple rocks before he degenerates. Nope, he's just going to degenerate there. Might have tried to get one toss in maybe there. Probably didn't have time. But yeah, those Chaos Spawn getting worn away though. It is a pretty risky situation. The fact that Harkon's still so healthy is a big problem. The Gallows Giant starting to take some damage, but these Chaos Spawn don't have the best AP. And, yeah, the Summoned Cygor looks like is not actually going to be able to get into full contact here. There we go. He does get an attack in there. So, yeah, Gallows Giant in a bit of trouble here, but it should be okay. Probably will be able to outlast the Cygor summon. Maybe. It's definitely struggling, but deck droppers are also out of ammo, so things suddenly looking a little bit dicey here. And Harkon, he is a pretty decent combatant, but 44-42 isn't the best stats. Morgr has pretty comparable stats in just straight-up melee, so once the charge bonus wears off, then Harkon, you know, doesn't necessarily have too much of an advantage there, except in his armor. But Summoned Cygor is going to wear away now, though, and unfortunately the Gallows Giant still online. This Summoned Spawn as well is about to be disintegrated into dust. So the Beastmen push there, just falling a little bit short, just about had enough there to finish off. And keep in mind, this is without Invocation of NEHEK as well, and even without Lore of Vampires providing that healing passive. It's just straight up Lore of Deeps, and unfortunately the Brave Shaman gets terrified away at this point. You can see that does start to tilt the balance of power, and as I said, the Beastmen just starting to run out of steam a little bit there in the late game. But definitely a valiant effort by Flying Taco to try and take down the dreaded coast. This, I feel, Beastmen have a hard time against all three of the undead factions, generally, although I feel this is the easiest of the three, just because Beastmen match up well against Coast infantry-wise, and you can definitely do some different things. From a build standpoint, I think Taco did make some mistakes here in bringing the melee Ungors, and not bringing any Ungor Raiders as well is a big mistake, because that kind of leaves you at the mercy of those deck droppers, but from my perspective, I probably would have cut one of the two units of spawn. Or maybe like this unit of Goreherd, the Unshielded Goreherd, cut these 3 Ungor Herd as well and take like 5 units of Ungor Raiders. Just to try and get that lots and lots of range soak. Because Ungor Raiders, they trade reasonably well against most zombies. I mean, they have okay melee stats. You don't want them to necessarily be fighting in melee, but through volume of fire, and, you know, just especially with 5 units of them, you can really do a lot. You can tear apart that Necrofex. You can just in general shoot like the zombie crews. You can even shoot Harkon to a degree relatively effectively. Just that mid-range missile units spam is something that Vampire Coast is somewhat weak to, and Ungor Raiders with their stock, with their decent melee stats and volume of fire, they're pretty decent at that, certainly. So, decent battle, though. Very fun to watch. Big thanks to Arrow once again. Always like to see the Gallows Giant in action. Scurvy Dogs getting some sweet routing unit action as well. Deck Droppers didn't get a whole lot of kill totals, but helping to wear away those Chaos Spawn was definitely very important. I do like Chaos Spawn quite a bit in this matchup. At least, 2 to 3 is not bad. Personally, in this particular build, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I would go with 3 and just cut the Gore Herds and the Ungor Herds down for the Raiders for a little bit more presence in that way. But anyway, very fun battle. Let's get to the next one. Yeah, we've got one more, so let's get to it. All right, and the last one for today brings us the generic Mr. Von Karstein Lord. It's Vlad and Manfred's masked cousin who refuses to reveal his identity. It's got Storm of the Night here, which is basically Tempest. Of course, no Invocation of NEHEK. And we've got Raise Dead and Dance Macabre, as well as Flock of Doom, Charmed Shield, and Undeath Resurgent. No Corpse Carts, so no passive healing. He does have a Terrorgeist. And, yeah, Black Coach there. You can see for the Bretonnians, Royal Pegasus Knights, 2 units of them, along with King Lewin. That Tempest there going to do some good damage. Did it actually drop any models? No, it did not. But they do get baited into the Black Coach here and actually take a counter charge from those Blood Knights. Might lose a model or 2 from that. Yep, looks like they did drop a model or 2 there. That's too bad. The rest of the Vampire Army, we've got Skeleton Warriors, more Blood Knights. And I believe these are actually Black Knights, so maybe it wasn't the worst, but they did lose a little bit there. As for the rest of the Bretonnians, we've got a couple Grail Guardians in the main line here, Spearmen at Arms, got Holy Wardens of La Maisenthal for some DPS, and some Peasant Mobs just for extra bodies. Nice Flock of Doom there from the Karstein Lord. And you can see the Terror Goose, poor Goose, is in a really, really bad situation here, getting caught by Lewin and these Pegasus Knights up in the air like this. He's going to start to take a ton of damage. Looks like Regrowth going to be used on these Pegasus Knights, as they have taken quite a bit of HP damage, but only 1 model lost, so that's a great Regrowth there. Perfect Vigor doesn't really matter so much, but the HP replenishment definitely very powerful with that many unit models left still. You can see meanwhile here the Black Knights charge on the front line. Royal Pegasus Knights immediately going to hammer in from behind and punish them for that mistake. And you can see almost immediately those Black Knights actually crumble away, so pretty rough stuff there. Blood Knights, though, and the Black Knights going to charge in on this flank. You can see the Grail Guardians helping to hold the line here with their shields, their swords, their high melee defense. As long as they don't get direct charge by the Blood Knights, they should be able to tank this engagement just fine. Lewin also coming in for some support as well. Dives in to get some splash attacks. Another Blood Tempest goes off on these Royal Pegasus Knights. They've just about finished off the Goose, but the Goose is still alive, and he can still try and come in here and potentially get near the Karstein Lord to try and salvage his leadership a little bit. Looks like he's going to do just that. But here come the Pegasus Knights. All the effects going off in the world. Looks like we've got Flock of Doom, Sword of Corone, Dance Macabre, all the different effects going on here. But as Lewin gets into this heavy cavalry engagement with the support of the Pegasus Knights and the Grail Guardians here, we'll be able to probably take this. Looks like the Bretonnian Cav taking some damage, kind of some awkward pathing as well, but those Black Knights getting worn away. The Blood Knights faring a little bit better there, but Karstein as well. Not doing too well. We'll see. Balance power slightly in the favor of Bretonnia at this point, as these Black Knights and Infantry are kind of getting worn away a little bit here. The Grail Guardians tanking out a lot of damage, racking up not that many kills, but they're just tanking the hits right now, which is really what they need to. This unit as well, you can see 37 models still, Regrowth on them. They're going to be fighting here just tooth and nail. A lot of the lower attack vampire counts units like these skeletons are just going to wash up against the Grail Guardians here, basically do 0 damage. Blood Knights, though, getting up and around to try and get a charge here. It looks like the Grail Guardian's actually going to intercept them and prevent them from getting a charge here, potentially, or no? Yes? Okay, yes. Looks like they do prevent them from getting a charge, and that also isolates them for the Pegasus Knights to come in and then deal the actual damage here. So, interesting to kind of see those Knights used in tandem. The healer's still alive, the damsel here, the Bretonnian peasants still fighting reasonably well on the front line. Those holy wardens down to only 15 models and still fighting. Man, they've just been mopping up kills here, I believe. Let's have a look at their kill total. 45, actually not too much, but still having that presence in the front line, as well as these Grail Guardians. Oh man, beautiful stuff there. One more Blood Tempest on the Pegasus Knights here. They're relatively healthy. That Storm of the Night doing some good damage. They're down to 17 models, but still have quite a bit of HP left, so if this Damsel's got one more regrowth, this would be a perfect target right now. They're pretty low on HP, but still have most of their models left, so that would be ideal for a regrowth. But Spooky Boys coming in, getting chased by the Royals of Bretonnia out here in the desert once more. Man, we've had a lot of desert battles today. But Lewin comes in. Is he trying to finish off the Black Coach, or it looks like he's trying to come in and actually finish off the Black Knights here. The Black Knights and the Blood Knights especially, obviously, are kind of the win condition for Bretonnia. If they can finish off these Blood Knights, then their Pegasus Knights and Lewin will be safe to kind of, cycle charge out the rest of this, not Bretonnian, vampire army. But you can see the balance of power not being kind to the vampire counts at this point, as this unit of Blood Knights is pretty much crumbled away. Crumbling doing what they love, which is butchering Bretonnian peasants, but crumbling nonetheless. Sword of Crone being popped over here to debuff these Black Knights, and these Blood Knights as well also getting hit by that, so the Grail Guardians can maybe do a bit of damage here. The Damsel's in a bit of distress, but the Grail Guardians are in a position to potentially bail her out here. Looks like the Karstein Lord might be able to finish her off. No, she does indeed squeak away there, so Karstein's kind of being held up here by the Grail Guardians. You can see the Black Coach still operational out in the distance, still able to get in here and get some terror routes. But this one Holy Warden, I know we had the one Flagellant the other day. Flagellants also fought to the death earlier, but this one Holy Warden of La Maisontal actually just shattered. But 47 HP, the last survivor. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no religious offices for men in Bretonnia. They just get killed. But anyway, let's not think about that. If he was a Flagellant, I'd say make him a warrior priest, but he's unfortunately not a Flagellant. So anyway, you can see the Royal Pegasus Knights, only a handful of models here coming in, but are they able to finish off the handful of Blood Knight models with the support of those Grail Guardians? The Black Coach also in here, and it does look like a very, very pitched engagement here. Oh, and a Blood Knight goes down. Pegasus Knights are able to finish off the last few of the Blood Knights here. Karstein Lord tries to come down and deal some foul vampire shenanigans out, but well, it looks like he actually did fell one of the knights there. Only 2 knights remaining of that unit, and 2 of the other unit as well, so very, very close in this late game. But Lewin and the Grail Guardians, Lewin and Lewin standing up on Beaky, celebrating the victory in glorious Bretonnian fashion. Very, very close at the end there, but the Grail Guardians and the Royal Pegasus Knights able to carry the day, and that just goes to show, without Invocation of NEHEK, I mean, obviously he didn't have the overlapping passive healing as well for the vampire counts here. Definitely would have made things more challenging for Bretonnia, but yeah, you can get ground down a little bit. Wonderful play by Flying Taco with those Grail Guardians. 201 kills, 146 at the end of the day. The Pegasus Knights got lots of XP chevrons as well from hunting Blood Knights and Black Knights, which is what they needed to do. 50 kills from the Holy Wardens, fought until the very end there, so that's always nice. Yeah, for the vampire side, Blood Knights did well, Black Coach did well. The Goose was definitely a tough pick. And for me personally, I would say against Bretonnia, you know, unless you're really trying to sell out and go all in the air, you would need, what, like two geese, the Von Karstein Lord, and then maybe Vargeis, or even the Vampire Heroes on the Hellsteeds. But without that, I would say you just want to take him on the ground, probably, and then instead of the Goose, take a couple corpse carts, you take a bunch of spears as well, just to kind of give you some more infantry soak, a little bit more sustainability in that kind of grindy fight, but very fun stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this NEHEK November multicast. Be sure to check out Aerocrastic's Twitch channel. I'll have a link down in the description below. Go give him a follow. He'll be streaming. I'd imagine might be doing 1 or 2 more streams of NEHEK November before the month is up. And regardless, just has lots of great action there, so be sure to check him out. Thank you once again for watching. Keep it tuned here for more Total War Warhammer multiplayer content. Hit that like button and do subscribe. And we'll see you next time.